What's up, CMQ CMQ investors? Welcome to the show. I'm about to take a sip of coffee and get jacked up. Woo! All right. Here's what's going on, guys. It looks like the deal is going through. Elon Musk is going to be officially buying Twitter. Now, I want to share with you why I think this is actually really interesting for Tesla shareholders and what I think Elon Musk might be up to beyond what's been reported. I have some friends that I think are very, very intelligent who, when I told them this idea, they were like, you have to share this. You've got to make a video about this. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. I'm going to just give it to you right from the heart, right from the brain, right from the gut, and tell you exactly what's on my mind, because I've not heard anyone take this perspective on it. First, let's do a little bit of background here. I was reading in the Financial Times just a minute ago that it looks like this deal for Elon Musk to buy Twitter is going to go through. I think he's going to pay about $44 billion, which is chump change, if you know what I mean, guys. Not exactly, but he is now in control of one of the world's most influential social media platforms, or he will be, more or less. Now, what does that mean? Like, why would he want this? If you look at Tesla, right, and let's think about Elon Musk as Tesla first. Tesla is one of the most successful companies of the last decade. I think, he's trying to build one of the most valuable companies in the entire world. And it's certainly the reason that he is the richest man in the world currently. Now, Tesla, if you ask someone, why is Tesla interesting? What makes Tesla special? People will say things like, it's EV, or it's sustainability, or it's, autonomous driving. If you ask me, I say that it's, in part, one of the things that's most interesting is the fact that Elon Musk spends practically nothing, or Tesla spends practically nothing on traditional marketing and advertising. Now, over the years, I would argue that one of the most important levers, or I'll say this, one of the most important drivers of growth for Tesla has been Elon Musk's Twitter account. Elon Musk has over 80 million followers on Twitter. I was doing the math. If he tweets something, maybe 3 or 4 tweets is the equivalent of like a Super Bowl commercial in terms of the amount of actual impressions that it generates. And you could argue, just based on what he was able to move the needle on back during the GameStop thing, the Dogecoin little era, and even a stock like Etsy, he's able to move the needle with his tweets in a way that you could argue even Super Bowl commercials don't. And so the last thing I'll say is this. When Elon Musk tweets, like, what happens on Twitter doesn't stay on Twitter. When he tweets something, it becomes, it goes off of Twitter. People, there's headlines right now across every major media platform about this deal with him buying Twitter, what he tweeted about buying Twitter. And so he gets an enormous amount of reach, just beyond the reach of having over 80 million followers. Now, the question remains, why would you want to buy Twitter then if you already get so much free media from having, a Twitter account? Well, I would say that over the years, we've seen that people can grow and amass very large followings, but then not be able to reach all those people. And that can happen because of algorithm changes. That can happen because the platforms say, hey, we need to make money. And so if you want to reach your followers, you need to boost this post or promote this post. And it can also happen for things like, allegedly, like shadow banning, or, just algorithmic things that we're not aware of that can be potentially, some have called selective censorship. I could go on and on. Now, with that being said, beyond the fact that you need people to see your tweets that follow you, over time, people can leave social platforms. They get tired of them. Any social platform is like a few iterations away from just becoming irrelevant. And so if Elon Musk is truly concerned about the direction Twitter is taking as an actual platform, by having ownership of it and being able to bring in his people and make the product changes he believes are most valuable, using data, using AI, using, the tools that he's used over the years to build some of the most successful consumer companies on the planet, well, that would give him more certainty that his existing followers will stay there. So this distribution channel that he's created, on Twitter for himself and for Tesla, remains sticky. And that's just as important as the previous point that I brought up. And I'd say those two things mostly, would be critical for him. So if he could own it. Oh, this is the last thing I'll say. You look at GM and Ford. Over the last year or so, both spent over $3 billion, I think 3.1 and 3.6 billion respectively, on traditional advertising and marketing, whereas Tesla spent nothing. Now, part of that is just by nature of scale, and it's not a total apples to apples comparison, but for Tesla to not have to spend real money on marketing and advertising, by buying Twitter, if you look at the value of the media that, there's generated rather through Elon Musk's Twitter account, you could do the math and start to make a case that just owning the distribution itself is worth the asking price. Beyond the fact that Twitter itself is not a company I'd want to own 100% of, based on its inability to create shareholder value, despite creating a lot of value for us as consumers. So those pieces all together, I think, give a really interesting angle, or show us a different angle for what this purchase is all about. Now, there's also the part of it, just like, why not own it, right? Like if you're a billionaire, sometimes you need stuff to buy. And look, owning media is something a lot of billionaires do. Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. And again, not apples to apples comparison, but hey, look, Elon Musk owns Twitter. It's a product that he's enjoyed, he's benefited a lot from, and now he gets to own it. Now, the downside of this, and I'll say this is before I get coming full circle to the upside. The downside is Elon Musk going to become distracted? Can he also be CEO of now more than two companies? Is that going to be an issue? Even if he's not CEO of this is a huge investment. He's obviously going to want to put a lot of time and attention into making sure that it turns into something valuable for him. That's always a question that I've had concerns about with Elon Musk in the past, but he's proven me wrong every time. And I think the lesson I've seen with Tesla and just Elon Musk in general is, like, don't bet against him. The last thing I want to say is this. There's also a PR angle to buying Twitter. His reason for saying that he's buying it is that it's the importance of free speech and having, free speech, just basically Twitter being like a forum for free speech for, everyone across the world. That is, I would say generally considered a positive thing. And for Elon Musk to associate himself and by default associate Tesla with that, that's a good brand association to represent. He already represents sustainability, technology, innovation, climate change, you name it. He stands for, at least his brand stand for good things. And this is just another good thing for him to be associated with, which, as Tesla expands, and Tesla has a growing market share internationally, this is just another great thing to have his name and Tesla's name associated with. So all in all, it's like he's going to own a distribution channel that's, I would argue, the most powerful distribution channel for Tesla's growth. He's able to ensure that the product continues to go in a direction where he can maintain the potency, or the potency of that distribution channel, the power of that distribution channel. And it's also just a great thing to be associated with, as he's framing this as a, he's the champion of free speech, and, everyone should have a voice. By the way, I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I just want to call it the psychological brand association piece here. Now, with all that being said, I think this is really interesting for Tesla generally, because for the aforementioned reasons. And like I said, betting against Elon Musk has not proven to work for anybody. And based on the Q1 earnings that just came out, that I went through them last week, he's building something really special. Now, whether or not the stock is overpriced or not, I'm not here to say it is or it isn't. But you can't argue that he's in a really great position, to continue to ride this, EV sustainability wave. And he's built a heck of a brand, and his brand has been, amplified through something like Twitter, which he now owns 100% of. So it's a pretty interesting investment for him personally. Curious to have your thoughts. Obviously, leave a comment. I'm on live right now, but you can leave a comment on YouTube where I'll upload this. It's getting lots of hearts, so I'm going to try to upload this without editing it, and making it too perfect. But what else I want to say here in terms of what's next for Tesla, what's next for Elon Musk, what's next for Twitter. Like I said, Twitter has not been a good stock to own. Because it just doesn't create a lot of value for shareholders relative to the value it creates for others. But like I said, it's created a lot of value for Elon Musk, so why not own it? But anyway, let me pause myself there. The coffee is definitely pumping through my veins right now, so I don't want to talk you guys to death. I'm considering buying some Tesla stock. I'll be honest with you, not just because of this, but if you own something like an S&P 500 ETF. At least I think the VOO, about 2% of that is Tesla. So I have Tesla exposure. But curious if you've owned Tesla. Everyone who's owned Tesla has done great. Doesn't mean they're going to continue doing great, but it's something that, the more I dig into this company, the more impressed I am. And it might sound weird, like, what do you mean dig into the company? It's Tesla. There's only so many businesses and things I can learn about. So Tesla's one where I've just always felt like I've missed the boat on it. But this past week, I was really digging through their latest earnings, and I was just thoroughly impressed. And even the way that even the earnings call transcript, Elon Musk thinks like on a level above, it feels like, or at least a half level above everybody. I can't help but, admire the guy. And I know he's not perfect. He has flaws. I'm not trying to say he's saving the world. But I'd say overall, I am net positive. My opinion is net positive on Elon Musk. But let me know what you think. Maybe I'm missing something. This is not meant to be, just a closed-ended discussion. I'd love to hear your perspective as always. This is the CMQ Investing podcast / YouTube channel. So subscribe, follow. It's on everywhere you can stream podcasts. It's on YouTube. And right now I'm on Instagram Live through our Charlie Munger quotes page. But CMQ stands for Compound Money Quietly, which is really, the core fundamental idea that relates to building wealth long term. And that's what any investor, no matter where you're starting from, that's what it's about.